Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of Magic Mondays. Today we're looking at a deck that I've called Swapsies with the commander Gutmorn, Pactbound Servant. He is a legendary 1/3 flying Death Touch demon for 3 mana, and when he enters the battlefield, each player discards a non-land card. Whenever a player discards a card during your turn, they choose another player. That player conjures a duplicate of that card into their hand. It perpetually gains, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast the spell. So full disclosure here, this is basically just a reskinned Turgid deck. And I will scroll down to her now so you can see what I'm talking about. Where's she at? Hello? There she is. Turgid. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So Turgid is 5 mana. Gutmorn is 3 mana. Turgid does not affect you, whereas Gutmorn does affect you. So if I have to discard a card, my opponent gets a copy of that card. Basically, it's like a not as good Turgid, in my opinion. But I wanted to just mess around with this card because it's kind of intriguing to me. So with Turgid, when it was a Turgid deck, it was very much just focused on sacrifice and discard. And it still is, but I did change it up a little bit and gave it a tiny little bit of a demonic theme. So like Demogorgon's Clutches. I mean, target opponent discards 2 cards, still kind of works. But for the most part, it's really just, you can easily put Turgid as the commander of this deck, and it's honestly probably better. But I wanted something cheap. I wanted to try out this card. I don't know. I still won a fair number of games, but you just got to be more careful when you play Gutmorn than Turgid, because you don't want to discard something that you have in your hand that's really powerful to give to your opponent. So 20 creatures, 39 non-creatures, 2.9 mana cost average. So that's 3 instants, 18 sorceries, 8 artifacts, 9 enchantments, and 3 planeswalkers. And it's what you would expect. It's a lot of cards like Devour Intellect, target opponent discards a card. Dreadfugue, target player reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. They discard that card. Duress, same thing. This is one of the cards that I like to discard. Honestly, it doesn't need to be in here. There's not a lot of cards that make me pay life in this deck. So this is a good one for me to discard when Gutmorn comes into play. Forsworn Paladin, similar, unless I'm playing a black deck, because then they're getting a 1 mana, 1/1 menace token, or menace creature that they can't do any of the special stuff with. So he's there to be useful for me, but also decent discard fodder. More discard stuff here. A creature that I can force my opponent to discard a card. Same thing. This is just for the versatility. Shambling Ghast, I think, is just a really useful common card. Vicious Rumors causes a discard. Shadow Spear is here because it's just an overpowered card, honestly. It's nice to be able to get lifelink on something and, give it a little bit of a buff. Acquisitions Expert, discard. Agonize Remorse. This is an exile, so I won't get a copy of that. So that's important to note, but it fits with the theme of, like, I need to get stuff out of my opponent's hand. And that's kind of the whole thing, honestly. I mean, like, some removal with Doomblade, but, like, even most of the creatures, when it enters the battlefield, discard a card. Opponent discards a card. Same thing. This is just a burglar rat with a different picture. And a bunch of snakes. Some removal here. Horde Robber to create some treasure tokens, or possibly discard it if need be. Sacrifice Implement of Malice. Target player discards a card. When it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. It's really a pretty simple deck. Davril can force a discard, and if the opponent has 1 or fewer cards, he deals 2 damage to them, so that's kind of neat. Demogorgon's Clutches I already showed you. Drill Bit is a discard a card. Nightmare, destroy stuff, and then discard a card, and then exile the graveyard. So there's nothing really super special about this deck, honestly. It's just like I found a card. Well, I found a card with Turgid, built a deck around it, and was like, well, let's change up the commander and see how it goes. Like, whenever an opponent discards a card, they lose 2 life. That's a useful card. There's really there's nothing really to highlight here. The commanders. I mean, Professor Onyx. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, they lose 2 life, and you gain 2 life. It's good crowd control, sort of, with the -3, and it helps me get to stuff that I want. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each opponent discards a card. Put target creature or planeswalker into the battlefield under your control from any graveyard. I mean, it's a really simple, basic deck. I should have Shrine to Nyx in here. Apparently, I do not. I just, for whatever reason, didn't add it. So I guess I'm actually going to do that right now. Because why not? Nyx. So, yeah. That's the deck. This is a short intro. Westgate Region is nice because the ward is discard a card, and also it's just a powerful card, and I have the cool 3D version of it here. So I enjoy that. Painful Quandary. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, they lose 5 lives unless they discard a card. It's really, this whole deck is just make them discard stuff, and then you get a copy of it. Kill the opponent with their own cards. That's the whole deck. So all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please, like it, leave a comment about it. Subscribe to the channel, check out some of my other stuff, all that good kind of stuff that I appreciate, and hopefully you do too. And without any further ado, please let me remind you to be kind to yourselves and each other. And let's get to some games.